Welcome back to your
Second.
favorite sports podcast. We're back with episode 22. Who you got for 22?
22.
What was that? What was that? What was that? Laughing?
It did look like we were starting.
Oh, we definitely, yeah. We did like a whole podcast right before this.
Yeah, we did. No, for sure. Like,
Do we leave this in?
hey,
Do you
yo.
want... Do you,
Hey, yo.
well, now you cuss. Now I can't leave it in. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll fix it in post.
Yo.
Do I start again? I don't even know what to do.
You're 22? You're talking about 22.
Yeah.
I was going to say Karis LeVert, but he don't play for us no more. so forget about Karis LeVert. Who's 22 for the Yankees right now?
I don't know.
22.
No, there's definitely...
Matt Forte?
Matt Forte. Oh, my goodness. Jamie.
See, I dig deep. Matt Forte
Jamie's on it.
was number 22 for the Jets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jamie's on it. 22. Famous number 22s.
Look who ran the ball for the Jets this past decade.
Yeah, it's not a stacked list.
Stacked list. It stinks. I mean, literally. Like
I love Thomas Jones.
that's my guy. I got the football
Yeah,
at
I
home.
was a big fan of Thomas Jones.
I got the white Thomas Jones football from like 07. No, 07? 08. 08. He
He looked like he shaved his head in between halves.
absolutely.
It was always so clean.
He was a big dude too.
Yeah, he was.
He's a big dude. I think there was a year he had like 14 touchdowns for us.
Yeah. He
think.
did. He had that huge year.
And then there was a year before that. I think he scored his first touchdown in week 16 or something like that.
Yes.
Like,
Well, it's a definition of a Jets running back, right?
And just in the season. You know?
We're still working on it. We're working on the 22s.
I mean, Roger Clemens.
Oh, yeah. That might rub some
He's
people the wrong way.
Yeah, very true. 22. It's kind of the double twos.
Because the next episode is a banger.
Oh, super banger.
That's
a good one.
The next two.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You might go 3 with that.
great numbers.
3 in a row?
Oh, yeah. But the next two numbers
Oh, gosh.
they're the best. They're the best. Doesn't get better.
Doesn't get.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
Oh.
What does it say? Because I can't read it.
Emmett Smith.
Emmett Smith.
That's a good one.
I mean, that is a good one. So
That's
I'm
a
not
good
going to
one.
apologize to any Cowboys fan that's watching this that's sitting there like, Emmett Smith. Listen, relax. All right. But Emmett Smith is a good one.
Emmett Smith. Yeah,
I don't have
that's
a problem
solid.
saying it's the Emmett Smith
I
episode.
forget about him a lot. Like, he doesn't really stick out in my mind.
No.
I
I think that's a lot of people.
think so,
Unless
too.
you're a Cowboys fan from like his time.
I mean, how good was Troy Aikman? Was Troy Aikman good? Let's really be honest. Go look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. He's in the Hall of Fame.
I know. So is Joe Namath.
It's very true.
So
People always talk about like, we haven't had they're talking about Joe Namath. I'm like, do we count Joe Namath?
we don't.
He has more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah, that's like what he's known for. I mean, he's Broadway Joe, but when people talk about him now,
Yeah.
that's what they talk about. Hall of Famer with more interceptions than touchdowns. Excuse me?
It's the truth.
That's like a novelty.
I think he threw the ball 10 times in that Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, yeah.
Or 15, might have been 15 times.
I think it was less than 15. I really do.
I think we won. I think we won off a field goal.
Yeah,
It's like 14-10 or something like that. Not
Yeah.
even 13-10. I think we won.
could have been.
I don't know. But
Anyway,
Come on.
we digress.
yeah, we digress.
It's the Emmett Smith episode, I
Yes.
guess.
I guess.
It's the I can't wait till
Yeah,
the
I can't
next
wait till
number.
the next episode number.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what that is.
um
Early Robinson Cano. 04 Robinson Cano.
04 Robinson Cano. What, you have another one?
Wasn't even on the team.
Oh, Robinson Cano. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be the Robbie episode, I guess. Well,
He's
I don't
suspended.
know.
He's
Yeah.
suspended for the second time.
Look, it's not a great number, but it will be a great episode.
It will.
Because today we're going to do a little change of pace. We're actually going to talk about we're going to talk a little bit about motivation. And this came about because we were talking off the mic about just how much we both enjoy being able to motivate people in our own lives.
Yes.
And being able to give somebody confidence, just like with your words and with your confidence in them, and so we thought, why not bring it to the pod and talk about it a little bit here, and talk about different ways to get motivated as an athlete.
Yes.
When you're playing sports or when you're teaching sports, how do you motivate? So I'll start with you. Like the first question that comes to mind for me is, what worked best for you when you were playing sports to when someone was trying to motivate you, not trying to motivate yourself. When someone, so what did you like most in a coach? Put it that way. That's the best way to put it. What motivated you best when a coach, how a coach approached?
I was never like the yell, like, you know, like I could take it, the yelling and like the loud rah-rah coach, but I much rather them. I liked teaching a coach that taught more than the like kind of ordered in a way.
That makes perfect sense.
You know what I mean? Like I teach me, like my favorite coaches were the ones that like taught me new things about either hitting, strategy, fielding a baseball, other than like, hey, I need you to do this, that, and the third, and I need you to do it this way.
Yeah.
Like like talk to me. You know what I mean? Don't, like, there's a ways to communicate, but I was never one to be like, all right, like I'd much rather have somebody teach me something, you know, in a certain way where it's like we're communicating at a level where we're on the same, like we're on the same level. He's not talking down.
Yep.
I feel like we're talking eye to eye. That's always
There's a certain level of respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was never one that enjoyed the coaches that screamed and shouted. Again, I could take it. I was not the kid that was going to cry if a coach yelled.
Of course.
Coach yelled. I'm back there. I've been transported back there. No, but I was not the kid that was going to cry. I've known those kids. I've seen those kids. I wasn't that kid. But yeah, because you want to know what it is too? We talked about this in the last episode when we talked about our spirit athlete, which if you haven't watched episode 21, go check it out. But I talked about how the spirit athlete I picked, part of the reason I picked it is because I put a lot of pressure on myself. And because of that, I don't need a coach that's going to I didn't need a coach that was going to put a ton of pressure on me.
Definitely.
I put enough on myself. Even as a young kid, I always expected a lot of myself.
Absolutely.
And would get aggravated at myself. I needed the coach that brought it down. That was like, hey, man, chill. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be another at bat.
Absolutely.
There's going to be another shot. That's, to me, also the best teammate to have on my team. I love the teammates that are like, keep shooting. I love that. I loved hearing that. Like, I love hearing that on the court when I miss and the teammate says, hey, man, keep shooting.
Absolutely.
That's the best way for me. I know that there are people who get motivated by the aggression and someone challenging them. They like that. It's not me. I think that's the rarest form that works. I think that one is the one that the least amount of people, it's the left-handedness of motivation. Like the least amount of people have it. It's a certain type of person has, like, you know, they say like left-handed people are more artistic and a different part of their brain. People who are motivated by the screaming and like someone getting in their face, that's a different type of person.
Speaking of left hand, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Someone reaches out with the left hand for the handshake. How do you feel about that?
I would look at them like they had 10 heads.
You got to, right?
Yeah.
You can't come in with the left hand.
Have you ever had someone do that to you?
I've been dapped up with the left.
Oh, no. I don't think I've ever even had that happen.
I mean,
if someone, like, even if it's by, like, happenstance, they had something in their right hand, put it down. I'll wait.
Absolutely.
Put it down. Come find me. I'll dap you up. I actually just had a conversation with someone who may or may not be in this room about this yesterday, about, like, dapping people up and how when I've had friends from other countries, a dap up for them is very different than a dap up for us.
Absolutely.
In the U.S., it's the traditional, like, you do like that. But Europe or Latin America, anywhere, it's the you hook the thumb. It's the soccer. Like you come in like this and
soccer
you hook
one.
the thumb. That's universal.
Yeah.
You could dap anyone up from any country with that dap.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my safety. That's my safety valve when I'm meet somebody who's from wherever, from Brazil or from Spain or whatever. Not that I'm hanging out with a bunch of people from Brazil or Spain, but I have known people, and that's the go-to. The guy who cuts my hair is from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
We dap up when I leave. I say goodbye, give him a little bro hug, do the whole thing. We never do the normal. It's always the European, the claw. It's always the claw.
The claw.
Yeah. So if you want to save, if you're doing business with somebody not from this country, go the safety route. Go the claw. Go the claw if we're going for a dap up. It's a soccer thing.
It's good to know.
Back to the motivation.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's like a left-handedness. Like it's a certain type of person, certain type of brain. Like it's the Kobe Bryants. It's the murderers. It's the killers. It's they like
it's
that stuff.
psychotic almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who are on the edge of genius and psychopath.
Yeah.
That's the kind of person that likes the yelling.
Yeah.
I think most people don't. I think it's not going to work for most people. And I think the proportion of coaches who use it to people who it's useful for
is very small.
Way out of whack.
It is out of whack. It is.
Completely.
It is.
Because it's easy.
Yes.
That's why.
It's easy. It's easy to yell. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you see them getting yelled at, and like I can see Kobe doing it, like start smiling, like with his teeth. With his teeth, right? Like very Jokerish when someone starts screaming at him and cursing.
Well, and this is why Phil Jackson, I mean, I know he's the Zen master or whatever, but he was an aggressive dude who didn't have a problem calling you out and getting in your face about something that you didn't do. And he's not one of he's not going to like start a fight with a player, but he would come right up to you and be like, you screwed up. You should have been doing this. You didn't do it. And he had killers. Like he had Kobe Bryant and he had Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And he could do that to those guys. And they could take it.
That's true.
And they kind of needed it.
They did.
They operated on that level.
Yeah.
Most players don't. No. Now, what would you do if say this is in the future and you got little Trents running around.
Mm-hmm.
The coach starts screaming. Right? Your kids are participating in a sport. Coach is screaming.
Yep.
And coach is doing something you disapprove of. Mm-hmm. How are you handling that? I'm sure there's parents going through this right now.
Absolutely. There's got to.
It's weird. You don't want to be that parent, right? That like the complainer.
How old is the kid?
Young. Between the ages 10 and 12. Not in high school. To me, if you're in high school, unless it's a level of bullying, then handle your business.
Handle it, yeah.
Absolutely. You're old enough to to be able to disregard what this man's saying, because you're probably disregarding what I'm saying.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. If
as a teenager, you're disregarding your parents. You can disregard your coach as well.
Like, of course. I didn't know if this was like Tiny Tots soccer. At
No.
Like, this is like between 9 and 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If it's an adult screaming at 6 and 7 year olds, we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna speak.
Yeah.
It's that weird.
It's that weird medium.
Not quite adults, but not babies either.
But you start understanding if I'm good at this or if I'm not good at this. As far as identification. Mm-hmm. And that's when you start saying, okay, let's take this more serious. Because I mean, it's starting younger and younger, but like 12, I think it's a good sweet spot of like, all right, let's say baseball, right? 12-year-old baseball to 13-year-old baseball, which is, you get to the big field. There's a difference there. So kind of if we start understanding, okay, this guy's good.
Yeah.
But if he's yelling at my kid, see, I got cursed at when I was on a baseball field at 9 years old.
Yeah.
Like I remember that.
Yeah.
And I think it was just
the worst was the coaches' kids. Coaches' kids, they either get the most preferential treatment or they get ragged.
Yeah. They get thrown under the bus. Oh, my
goodness. I remember a time where our coach made his son run while we all practiced.
Yeah.
His son, did something, screwed up, and he was catching. His son was our catcher. Mm-hmm. And he literally, mid-practice, he's catching, made someone else gear up, and just told him, go run.
Wow.
He said, go run laps.
That's
He said, just
crazy.
run the field
That's
around
crazy.
us as we practiced. By himself.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's unbelievable.
It was crazy.
That's
But
crazy. Yeah, I've
that
never
would
seen
not
like
work
that.
for me.
No, absolutely. It's
The screaming, these guys get the military, like, make a man out of you
yeah.
thing.
It's like relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Relax.
It's because you want to know why? And I get, people do that a lot in the early stages because they're saying, like, we're weeding out whatever. But to me, that's foolish. I think it's more intelligent to see what you have rather than try and force what do they say? Try and force a round peg into a square hole or vice versa.
Yeah.
Square peg into a round hole.
Square peg.
That's what you're doing by doing that, like, military thing.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we need these warriors and whatever. But what if you have an amazing tactician
Yeah.
and you weed them out because you're making them do things that really they don't even need to be doing?
No.
To me, I'd rather take inventory of what I have, see how they operate, and if you truly think, yeah, this kid's not right, then you just tell him.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Yeah.
I know that's hard to do rapidly, when you're trying to do cuts and things like that, but the military style with athletics, how often does that really work?
Yeah, it's certain. I think certain sports it works. Like football, I think you need the mentality.
Yeah, you're gonna go punch someone in the mouth.
Yeah, like if you're gonna go get hit every play, I
Yeah.
need you to be as tough as possible.
Yeah,
I think there's so many drills, and you know this. You played football in high school. There's so many drills that are in football that involve no football. Like
Yeah, right.
they don't involve plays.
yep.
They don't involve you having the football in your hand.
No, I mean the first however many weeks is just there's
gonna
no
quit?
football involved. Yeah, who's gonna
quitting?
quit? Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
really the first, like, I've never played football, but I know a lot of people that have in high school, and the first, like, 3 weeks are to see who's going to quit the team.
Yep.
Because then you're like, okay, like, if you could get through this, then we can
That's
start
literally that's the military method. Hell Week.
Mm-hmm.
It's the military method.
But you got to have that mentality in football when you're going to literally go to war.
Here's my question. Does it work with today's athlete?
I think
It's a different breed of kid
it is.
now.
It is.
We were different breeds of kid
Yes.
than kids that grew up in the 80s.
Absolutely.
And their parents were a different breed than them. And,
Way
like our grandparents forget about it.
Forget about
right?
it.
I mean, and they
Different-
would tell
it was a
they-
different
look,
planet,
And
literally.
we all know the jokes. They would tell you that, like, they had to walk on nails, like they would tell you crazy,
Hey, I
uphill
walked
both ways.
both ways in the snow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
With no
so
shoes on.
they would tell you that, but it definitely was a different mentality, and I think people will say it's soft or whatever they want to say, but today's athlete is different. The mentality is just different, and I think also today's athlete is way more comfortable going, yeah, I don't need to do this. They're just more comfortable being like, I don't
Yes.
need to play this sport.
They're way
It's
more
okay.
aware too of themselves and the people around them. I feel like there was a bullying aspect in the 80s and the 90s.
100%.
There was a bullying. It's like, like I think it was just a wilder time almost.
Also, doing other things like acting, right? Doing like drama, doing other clubs and activities, band, whatever, was not accepted.
No.
It is now.
Yeah.
In a lot of places. It's more accepted than it ever has been. So I think kids are just more comfortable being like, this ain't for me. Like, I'm not going to do this. So I think coaches have to adapt
You do.
to that. Like, I think that military method's just going to work less and less and less. That screaming is going to work less and less and less.
Absolutely.
Because, like you said, kids are just more in touch with their own emotions and how they there's more complex thought going on with kids today than there ever probably was, because there's just more access to information.
Yes. Like, what do you tell a kid? Like, what do you tell a kid who's making money off of opening toys on YouTube? Like, he makes more than the football coach at your local high school.
Yeah.
More than he'll ever make. And this kid has never played a sport. And he's been making YouTube videos since he was 7. And he's 13 now.
Yeah.
What, is he going to go start playing football and he's going to keep playing when you scream at him?
Right. Yeah. I don't need to do this. I don't have to be here.
I literally do not, like, literally, nope. I don't have to be here.
And this isn't to say that we don't. If anybody appreciates the value in youth
Absolutely.
sports, we do.
We're not even talking about that kid. Like, that kid is a different kid. Like,
yeah,
that kid who's 7 and who's been making YouTube videos. This doesn't even pertain to him.
Right.
This is about the kid who's playing now, that wants to play football or any sport, and he doesn't have. There's other options.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's so many other options.
So many options.
But yeah, I think, there's so many. There's 1,000 different ways to be motivated.
Yeah.
But we're particularly talking about external motivation,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually would like to make this a series. I don't know where we're at time wise, but that's not important. Where we won't be able to jam pack everything into this episode. We'd love to talk about this more. This was just kind of a way to start that conversation in the motivation series, if you will. Because there's so many ways you internally motivate, and I think the more coaches and teachers try to figure out that for their students or whatever you want to call them, their athletes, the more success they'll have. And I think that more and more you're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Because of the reasons we're saying.
Absolutely.
With how athletes are now. It's just you can't force things on them because they got so many other options. They don't have to listen to you.
So many options. Like, the thought of me not playing sports when I was 11.
You just did. Your parents signed the kids up. You did it
automatically.
And there's value. There's value
Huge
to
value.
it. But now there's value realized in other things.
Absolutely.
So you got to present the value with your tutelage, how you approach it.
You do. It's so key how you present it to your kids.
And I think people that are running institutions or whatever that are putting people in these positions have to be more careful and more calculate. Like, you can't just say, oh, yeah, the gym teacher does it. Well, what if the gym teacher's not good at it?
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge problem. Whereas back in the day, it really never even got thought of. But now, that's a huge problem. And it comes down to motivation and other factors. But where you see people and institutions run into problems is usually that. It's usually, how do you get the kids to do what you want them to do?
That's the truth.
How do you motivate them?
Yeah.
And it's a great skill to have, when you talk about, and when you do it and you do it well, it's addictive. So the people that are good at it just get even better.
Yeah.
Because it's so fun. Like we talked about before we came on, it's so fun when you actually, you try to motivate someone and then you see that you did. And
it's
then
great.
You see that they were fulfilled
Yeah.
by whatever you motivated them to do.
Rewarding.
So the people that are good at it
just
keep getting better at it.
They do.
That's where you get your Vince Lombardi's, because he probably got so addicted to that feeling that he's like, yeah, I can't think of giving my effort to anything else.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, where the true coaches, the true motivator coaches, the coaches fall into all these different buckets that we like to put them in. But the motivator coaches, that must be where it, and I think sometimes, like we talked about Gary Vee before we came on, and I think sometimes it can come off as arrogance or whatever, people like to say about motivators, that they like to hear themselves talk and all this stuff. I think it just actually, for a lot of people, is that addiction to helping others through something so simple as just sharing your positive outlook.
Yeah.
And showing a little bit of concern. So I think and I think everybody has the capacity to do it at least a little bit.
Definitely.
There are people that are going to be better at it than others. There are the Vince Lombardis of the world. But everybody has the capacity to do it even just a little bit with something.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
So, when it comes to bringing it back to athletics, I think the future is bright, but for a lot of people, it's going to be a rude awakening.
Yeah.
And it's being a rude awakening. It's happening already, but I do think the future is bright. I do think as long as people commit to improving and servicing the athletes that they
definitely.
That's the thing. The truly great coaches realize that they are there to serve their athletes.
Yeah.
You heard Bruce Arians say it. If you watched the post game of the Super Bowl when they won, Bruce Arians was like, "It was these guys.
Yeah.
I just came here to help them realize what they already could do."
Exactly.
That's what a winning coach says.
That's what they do, man.
So, I'm sure a lot of people might know this already, but even in your own life, just think of it that way. If you're ever trying to motivate somebody to do something, realize that it's not about you.
No.
Think of it as a service.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
I think people don't really do that.
Nah, they don't. I think it's hard for people to do that.
Because when you're a coach, you're a leader, you're a top dog, you're above everyone else.
Yeah.
It's weird to think of yourself, actually, no, you're the servant. You serve.
Yes.
You're there to uplift.
Because you're only as good as your players.
Yeah.
And I mean,
What is a coach with no players?
Oh my gosh, he's not a coach. What is a coach without players?
A guy in a room with
really
writing on a chalkboard.
I would love to ask somebody to write down what that means to them. What's a coach without players?
Yeah.
Like if a coach without players is what? Quality control assistant?
Yeah.
Like
a coach with no players is a madman in a room by himself.
Exactly. Yes.
It's what it is. Like, I think of Bill Belichick with no players. It's just a madman watching tape and thinking about things all to themselves. Or it's a Vince Lombardi pacing back and forth in a room by himself talking.
Yeah. Because they don't have an outlet.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have an outlet.
I think that's a cool way to think of it if you're a coach. And I would love to talk to a coach about that. Like, how do they think of it? Do they think of it like that?
Yeah.
As these are... my athletes are my outlet for my creativity. Without them, I'm nothing.
Yeah.
And I think if you talk to a coach that's successful, I think that'll be a common thread.
For sure. For sure. That is like, I think if you ask any good coach, they love teaching. They don't want no credit.
Yeah.
They want to give to their players. Because I think the core of a great coach is like being able to give wisdom where it's needed and
with nothing expected in return except for your effort.
Yeah.
I don't need the result.
No.
I just want your effort.
Yeah. Because results happen when you give good effort.
Exactly. And good coaches know that.
They absolutely know that. So you just got to motivate your guys.
Right.
You got to motivate.
Mm-hmm.
See what's going on? You got to motivate your guys to give their best because the results will happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even got to say nothing else. I don't even got
We can't drop these. This is expensive equipment.
I can't
we won't drop them.
But like in my mind, I just did.
He did, though.
And you got it, man. You got it.
But this is good. This has been a good intro to the motivation series. And maybe we will get a coach on or some kind of a teacher. I would love to talk to someone who's currently instructing young athletes because I would I don't know. My days of my younger family members,
of course,
that's gone. They're gone. It's gone. They're grown. I'm not teaching anybody anymore. And I'd love to hear what it's like.
Of course.
To deal with today's, and I don't mean that in a negative way, deal with, but to have the challenge of teaching.
Because this generation isn't even our generation anymore.
No.
This is Gen Z.
Yeah.
So now it's crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're talking about like, if you're coaching a 10-year-old, that 10-year-old was born in
Oh my goodness.
2011.
Yeah.
Like 2011, I was in college in 2011. You know what I mean? Like I was probably ending my first year of college in 2011.
So it's a whole nother, and it's a huge leap in you too. Think about this. Not only have we progressed as a society, technology, all that, that progression has happened since the 70s, 80s, whatever. But the progression of sports science and the knowledge we have of athletics and
level.
Sports psychology, we're in the infancy of that.
Yeah.
That's just getting explored.
For sure.
So that changes by the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to speak to someone who's currently contending with all that.
Yeah.
And all the new ways that come up literally every day.
For sure.
And we now have access, like your coach, your average coach in the 80s didn't have access to all the information that today's coaches do on how to improve their methods.
Yes.
Now these coaches do. How do you stay on top of it while also doing your job, while also maintaining your personality and your beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if anybody wants to come on and talk about that stuff, we'd love to talk about it. Or if anybody knows anybody that wants to, we'd love to give a cheap plug to somebody.
Absolutely. Definitely give them a plug.
Obviously, we would vet the person and make sure that it's legit or whatever. But I think that'd be a great conversation to have. I think that'd be super interesting. And for anyone who may be watching that will have to do it, say with their own child or with whatever, I think it could be valuable.
No, for sure. For sure.
Because it's people have to do it. You got to do it with your own kids.
You do. No, you're right. You gotta.
So. But coaches is crazy because you got to do it with 20, 30, 50 other people's kids.
Other kids.
It's nuts.
It's hard, man. It's tough. I think it's always easier to coach other people's kids than your own, though.
Well, yeah, they're more likely to listen in a lot of cases.
And you don't have to approach it a different way. Like I feel like there's a delicate balance.
But there's also certain things that you gotta. There's a certain rules of engagement that go on, when it's not your kid.
Definitely.
And then there's the whole politics that go on with parents and whatever. We're not even talking. We're not getting into that. We're not getting into that
forever, for sure.
But we hope this has been something different. We wanted to talk about a little something different.
For sure.
A little something still related to sports, but not as silly as the stuff we usually talk about.
Yeah.
Because there's more rattling around up here than
Absolutely.
just the silly stuff.
Absolutely.
It may be what oftentimes makes it out.
Yes.
But, we'd love to continue this series and the motivation series and maybe even talk to some folks, some folks that motivate and some folks that have needed to be motivated.
Definitely.
I think it'd be a cool way we can introduce some guests. So maybe that will be coming in the future.
Yeah.
I guess you'll have to tune in and find out.
Yes, you do.
But that does it for this episode. For episode 22, don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Second Favorite Sports. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Drop a comment. Show some respect to people who have motivated you. If you want to drop in the comments just a shout out to someone who motivated you in your life.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and do that. And then send this to them so that way they can watch it.
Exactly.
And then see how you shouted them out.
Exactly.
See what I did there?
I see. Listen. That's what we do. We motivate.
Yeah, I hope I motivated you to watch episode 23. I hope we did that at the very least, or motivated you to hit the subscribe button. Definitely do that as well. YouTube.com. YouTube.com. Oh my goodness,
it's late. It's late.
No excuses. Rule whatever. No excuses. Play like a champion. All right, Humpty. Are you Humpty or am I? I don't know. Either way.
I gotta be Canty, right?
Don't start this again.
No.
Don't start this again.
We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there.
Remember, you said I can be Carl.
You could.
So I could be Canty too.
Before we end, do you agree with LeBron? No, you didn't use Utah in any video game you've ever played in your life.
No.
No one's using Utah Jazz.
No.
Another one too. I was talking to somebody about this very quickly, guys, before we get to the end. Karl Malone.
This is like when Marvel, the movie ends, but then there's stuff after the credits.
Yeah, exactly.
This is it right here. People were tuning out, and then all those people that stayed, shout out to you.
Karl Malone. How many people do you know that Karl Malone was their favorite player?
No one. Not a soul. We're also not from that era necessarily, though.
Come on. You know people that said, hey, Barkley,
Yeah,
Pat Ewing, Isaiah.
I have socks with Karl Malone and John Stockton on them.
Yeah.
It's not at all because I'm a fan of them. It's
at
just because I thought it was cool that there was one on one sock and one on the other.
Exactly.
It's like buying Rocky and Bullwinkle socks, though.
Exactly.
It's not.
No one's buying Karl. No, you never see a Karl Malone Mitchell and Ness.
No, rarely.
Rarely.
And
that's a great jersey.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, let's not get into jerseys.
I know.
We can go
we're,
to another.
we're going. Yeah.
Going
This
super
is
left,
becoming
right.
episode
and
22 and a half.
Yes,
now.
exactly.
But this has been episode 22. Just 22.
Just 22.
Of your
second
favorite sports podcast. Thank you for watching or listening. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.